Okay, in this video module, what we're going to do is create our first script. Yay, it's about time. Okay, now for the bad news. We're not going to create the most exciting script in the world. To be honest with you, it's probably the most boring script in the world and has absolutely no purpose whatsoever in regards to functionality inside our level. But it does have a very important purpose in the whole scheme of things, and that is, it's going to answer a few important questions. Where do we create our scripts at? What do we name our scripts? For those of us that aren't even familiar with starting new files, may there be some people out there like that, how do we start the script file to begin with? And then how do we get the script file to execute once our level launches? And we'll probably push it just a little bit further. By the end of this lesson, I'll even show you where you can find a whole list of events that you can start to experiment with if you're one of those that just can't wait for the next video to come out. So we do have a level that's created right now. As you can see, it's quite a lovely level. It's going to serve absolutely no purpose other than giving us a level to launch, because to see our script's functionality, we must have a level to launch. Now, we will come back to this level and do some real stuff with it a little bit later on in some other lessons, and we'll do some very interesting things with the level. But that's, to come. So first of all, how do we create a script? What do we name it? I mean, we know that we got to use context. We've pushed that over the last few videos, but where do we put it at? Well, first of all, you must decide which method you want to take when creating your scripts, and there's two. And we're only going to focus on one throughout this VTM series because it really only makes sense. One method is having your script use the same name as your map's file name. Okay? And I'll come back to that in a minute because that's going to be the method we're going to use. The other method allows your script to have a different name than your map's file name and be stored in a different location from your map. But it requires you to go in and modify one of its files that comes with Doom 3. And we are not a fan of anybody going in and modifying any of the original Doom 3 files. That's just not cool. I mean, plus that makes it very difficult to take your map and give it to your friends because now they've got to make sure that their file is modified. So we're not going to be going into what is referred to as the namespace method. Okay, we're going to use the same name method. So as I said a second ago, the same name method is creating a script that has the exact same name as your map's file name, with the exception of the extension, which is .script. Now, that script file must also reside in the same folder as your map. And if you've met those two conditions, your script will automatically be parsed when you launch your map. So let's take a look. First of all, what I'm going to do is bring up my, let's jump up here. You'll notice we're all the way back to my Doom 3 folder up under Program Files. I'm going to go down to Base. I'm going to jump up under Maps. And the map that I'm using right now, its file name is script_start.map. So script_start.map, there it is. So let's go ahead and create our script file in the same folder with the same name. So I'm going to do a right click, new, and we'll just tell it text file. And I'm going to do script_start dot, and remember I said the extension must be script, like such. So I'll go ahead and hit enter, and of course it's saying, hey, you're changing your file name extension, so it may become unusable with the whatever's associated with .text. Who cares? We've already got .script associated with context. So I'll say, yeah, let's go ahead and change it. And hey, what do you know? It is indeed associated with context. So let's go ahead and double click on it. It's going to bring context up for us. There's script_start, ready to be typed on. So to prove to you guys that when we launch our map, that the script file is automatically parsed, let's type something brilliant in here. Logan, is that pretty brilliant?
I guess so. I stand in awe of your scripting skills.
Thank you. Praise me. What's going to happen is when the Doom engine goes to take a look at the script, it's going to go, yeah, I don't think so. We're not even going to get the privilege of checking out our incredible map in the background because it's going to stop right away and say, hey, we've got a problem with the script. So let's take a look at this. We'll go ahead and save this out. Let's come back over here and to Doom Edit, and we'll hit F2, and we'll tell it map, and let's go ahead and say script_start. And so we'll let it load. It's loading. Oh, no, we've got a problem. So error, file maps /script_start.script, line 1 is not a type. So, it has no clue what we're trying to say to it. So that's just not going to cut it. But this does prove that when you go to launch your map, if there is a file that has the exact same name as your maps file name with the .script extension, then what's going to happen is the engine is going to open up that file and start parsing through it. If there's anything in there that makes no sense to it, then you're going to get an error, period. Okay, everything must make sense. It must be in the Doom language, if you will. So we can go ahead and leave open our console there. Let's go ahead and jump back into context real quick. Let's take all this out, and let's create a function. Now, we've got a lesson covering functions coming up a little bit later on, and we will explain everything in regards to using a function and making function calls. But right now, you guys are just going to have a little faith in me, have a little trust that what I'm saying needs to be said. Okay, we need to create an entry point. And this is something that you only need to do if you want some sort of functionality to execute the moment your map is launched. Okay, I mean, we can go through here and create tons of functionality within our script right now that doesn't launch automatically when the level launches. Basically, various levels of functionality that's going to take place when different triggers are hit or whatever occurs in the level. But if you want something to happen right when the level launches, we must have a main function, period. So this is how we create it. Void main, well, not mail, just kidding. So main, I can spell, I promise. Open and closing parentheses, an open curly brace, a closing curly brace. So this defines my main function. It's kind of a template, if you will, for the main function. And we will get into what all of these various parts, void, the open and closing parentheses, the curly braces, what all they mean a little bit later on in the functions lesson. Now, for those of you out there that are adventurous at heart, you may go out and start taking a look at other people's scripts online. You may see things like this. That's fine. You can do that. You may see things like this. That's actually quite common. Don't panic if you see things like that. That's good. Those work just fine. You can create your functions the same way. For me, I always find that in teaching beginners programming that this works out really well because it's a very clean layout. Now, so we see our opening, our closing curly braces. Everything inside here belongs to the main function. Now, the main function is automatically called, if it exists, when your script gets parsed. So our script gets parsed, main runs. Now, that means we can come in here and we can put something. But as a complete beginner, what do we put in here, Logan? We don't know. That's about all we know so far.
Yeah, exactly. What does the scripting language allow you to do? Is there any commands you have access to? What are those commands?
Yeah, how can we find a list of these commands, or what's also referred to as events? What events can I call upon? Well. Check this out. Let's go ahead and come back down here into our Doom 3 folder, and let's go ahead and jump back up all the way to the root of the Doom 3 folder. And remember, if you remember from the last lesson, I talked about us creating the script reference folder and dumping out all of the id scripts that come with Doom 3 from that Pack 0 PK4 file over into this folder here. Well, let's just jump in here, and let's take a look for something. I'm going to look for a script called Doom_events.script. Okay, let's go ahead and drag that over here real quick. Ooh, it is a gold mine, a treasure chest full of goodies. What we have here is a list. Defines game events available to scripts. Okay, just pretend there's an S there. Scripts, okay? Now, these events that are available to us are categorized. All entities have the ability to be removed. We can get the name of that entity. We can set the name of an entity. Activate targets, number of targets, bunch of stuff. Ooh, bind. Now, we've looked at bind entities already, right, Logan? Wasn't that just taking one entity and binding it to another so that it was parented to the other one? Well, look at this. Now we can bind through code one entity to another. So a bunch of different things in here. Now, let's come down. So these are all dealing with entities, all entities. Now, system calls. Okay, so if we wanted to do something like, let's see, stuff that'll make sense. Wait. So we wanted to basically suspend execution of a specific thread, which we'll talk more about threads a little bit later on, for so many seconds. We can do it with wait. If we wanted to wait for something to complete, like if we told a mover to move from one point to another, we want to say wait for it to finish before we move on to the next line of code. Check this out. Again, related to system functionality. If we want to print something out to the console, okay, we can do that with the print command. print this line on the network. So if you want to say something in like a broadcast out to everybody. So there's all sorts of things. Ooh, look at this trigger. If we want to cause a trigger to happen and then have something respond to that trigger. So anyways, the trigger would handle whatever it's tied to. You get the idea. So as we go down through here, let's take a look at some of the other categories. So cameras, if we want to start or stop a spline or anim camera moving. Lights, that's easy. If we want to turn a light on, turn a light off, set the radius of the light. Is it going to fade out? Is it going to fade in? A force field, animate, movers. Are we going to start it moving, stop it moving, speed? I mean, the list goes on and on. Doors, open, close, lock. Check, is it open? Check, is it locked? I mean, it's a very long list of events that we have access to. So open this file up. Don't be afraid to go through and just kind of, browse around, look at it, maybe experiment a little bit. That's what we're about to do. We're about to use, somewhere way back up here, up under System. Let's jump back down here. So there we go. Called vAssist, System Events, and we're interested in print. And we need to send print some text, okay, which is a string. So let's go ahead and jump back over here, and let's try it out. So I'll hit Tab, sys dot print, open parentheses, and now I need to give it some text. And the text is in the form of a string. And a string, which is something we'll talk about in depth when we get into variables, is something that's going to appear inside of quotes. So, hello world. Let's make a capital W there. Yay. Like such. Why? Because every programming book in the entire world's first program they have you create says hello world. So, hey, let's be just like them to start out with. We'll be different very much so in just a minute. So let's go ahead and tell it a new line afterwards in the string. Go ahead and end off our print command or event and go ahead and put a terminator at the end. Whew, that's a lot of stuff for those that are completely new to the world of programming. What does it mean? Don't worry about it. It's all nice and easy. Right now we're saying, look, system, call the print functionality and send this string to it. The string is hello world, and a string is nothing more than alphanumeric characters with special characters as well. This right here is a special character sequence, if you will, an escape sequence or escape character. \n is a new line. So this way, what will happen is hello world is going to get print out to our console. We know it's to the console because it says prints the given string to the console. It's going to print that out to the console, and then it's going to do a new line so that anything else that gets printed out to the console doesn't start out butted up right here to the end of hello world. So, that's pretty good. So now we have an entry point. It must always be called main.
Right, you can almost think of main as your onload function for your script.
Exactly. For those of you out there who have a little bit of programming experience and are familiar with events. But it must be called main. That's automatically going to get called, and anything inside it is going to start executing. And right now what we've said is system call on the print functionality and send this to it. And that is all. Now, let's go ahead and save this and check this out. Here is the beauty of how level scripting works with Doom 3. I don't have to compile anything. I don't have to do anything. I just go back to my game and relaunch my map. So I'll go ahead and hit the up arrow to bring map script _ start back. Hit the enter key. And this time, as long as Doom is able to understand everything it sees, my level loads fine. Check this out. Bring down the console. Loop. And hello world. Sweet, it printed it out, so it worked. Now, I can leave my game up like such. I can jump back over here, and let's modify this a little bit. Let's copy this line. Let's paste it, and then let's... Actually, I didn't mean to do that one. I'll paste this new line I'm about to create right here. Let's do this. We'll put a whole bunch of these guys, maybe out to there, and we'll tell it... actually, we'll just do one new line there. Let's do... carriage return here. Yeah, that's pretty good. And maybe even a carriage return there. Let's grab this. Let's bring this down and paste this here. So what's going to happen in our console is it's going to be like hitting the enter key, put a whole bunch of asterisks, hitting the enter key, hitting the enter key again, whole bunch of asterisks, enter key again, a whole bunch of asterisks, and an enter key. Okay?
So we should have a whole bunch of custom text that looks like it's double-spaced.
Yes, so it has a little bit of formatting going on. Now watch this. We'll save this. We'll come back over. Here we go, the beauty. I don't have to compile anything. Hit the up arrow, simply restart the map. Again, the script's going to be parsed. It's going to launch main or call main, bring down my console, and look at this. Hello world. There's all my asterisks. And same down here, and the spacing and the spacing. A little bit of formatting going on. Sweet. Now, I know we haven't done anything uber cool. Well, actually, we've done nothing cool at all. Not even a little cool. But we have created a script. Doom 3 has launched that script. And we've seen that the script must make sense to Doom, otherwise it won't even give you your level. And then we showed you how we can find a list of all of the events that are available to us, and we saw that in the Doom_events.script file that everything was broke up into categories. Now, we haven't gone into all the categories heavily throughout all the lessons. We're going to get deeper and deeper into a lot of these events, so they're going to start making more and more sense. We'll do them, for the most part, in project-based scenarios. But with an understanding of this, feel free to go ahead and peruse it and try out some of the things. And then we showed you just printing something out to the console. So not a complicated script, but at the same time an important one for someone who's completely new to the world of programming. And with that, Logan, is there anything else you can think of?
No, I mean, we've got a script set up and running in the game, and that's what we wanted to do.
Okay, so with that, that is going to wrap up this lesson.